the story of your next 3 months, not simply the week ahead, up and down, black and white, light and dark. There's probably, my prediction, the next 3 months, a major scandal to do with matters of the entertainment industry in the natal chart of the United States of America. The solstice represents the longest day in the year with the sun shining. It's a peak of light. From here, the light can only go down. Pluto in Aquarius brings multipolar worlds.
Lunatic astrology.
Welcome to the astrology of the week ahead. We're starting with the 21st of the month of June to the 28th. Happens to be Solstice Day. Sunday, the 21st of June, the sun will slip into the sign of Cancer. And this is going to make a story happen that not only lasts this week, but for 3 whole months until September 23rd, when we have the Fall Equinox. So today's video is covering not only elements of the week ahead, like midweek, the sun trining the North Node of Fate, well, it's newly established in Cancer, but we're also talking about what it means for the world. And in particular, in the first 30 minutes or so, I'm going to talk about world astrology events, and then we're going to talk about your sign for this week, including what the solstice means for you. We have things like asteroid Salacia for shocking gossip and news. We have the volcanic energy of Volcano hitting the sky really intensely with Salacia. I can expect not just this week, it's really about the next 3 months, some scandalous breaking volcanic explosive news to hit the airwaves. And it is connected to Saturn sitting in Aries. Lots to talk about. Lachesis, an asteroid for somebody's funeral, along with ornamenta. It could be a very ornamental thing. Lachesis can bring us that sense of funeral and funeral rites. And it's also that energy of one's destined ending of something. And so much to talk about. Let's get started. I'm going to bring up the sky. We're going to spend maybe 20 to 30 minutes maximum, hopefully less, talking about what it might mean for world events over the 3 months that follow. Sunday, the 21st of June. And then we're going to talk next, of course, about how you can use this solstice energy to capture the story of your next 3 months, not simply the week ahead. I'll touch lightly, though, this week on the 25th as Venus trines Saturn, where you can smooth out some rough edges in your love and money story through the archetype of patience, persistence, and perseverance. My name is Lori Lothian. Welcome to the channel if you're new. This is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. We, of course, are using the whole sign house system to delineate the sky because this is the tradition of the ancient world and it works very well. And as well, if you're new to my channel and you haven't liked and subscribed, maybe you watched 3 or 4 videos, but you've never subscribed, please consider subscribing. YouTube loves the subscriptions on the algorithm and it keeps me working, keeps me growing, and keeps me doing these very, very intense all signs videos every time for you guys. And if you catch wave of this video before the end of June, my code CELEBRATE, all capital letters, it'll go away. I'm celebrating reaching 150,000 subscribers last month, May, and on this platform. And if you want to get the Celebrate code, all caps, on my new website, lorilothian.com, and click for the drop-down menu courses, you'll be able to grab any course replay that I've taught, the shorter classes, the 90 minutes to 2-hour classes, finding your past lives, finding your family and people in the chart, your spouse, relationship astrology, stuff like that, career astrology. It is in the Celebrate 40% off spirit of partying, partying hard that I got this far after all these years. I don't know how some people do it. I think I'm starting a tarot channel. I have this passion for doing something more fun these days. Like I love tarot. I'm a total consumer of 3, 4, or 5 favorite tarot channels. And stay tuned for that, because you know what? I just might have to do that for a little bit more ease and fun. I'm laughing at that, though, because it's like 5 years clawing my way up to 150,000 subscribers. And you'll see like a new channel get to 1 million in like a year or something. Not often, but it could be fun to start something new as well. All right, let's get started. And reminding you, it's Western Tropical Zodiac. I'm wearing these black and white earrings, right? Black, white, and gold. And there is a reason I'm doing that today, because our tropical Western Zodiac is a symbolic sky based on the light and the dark, like Star Wars. Come to the dark side, Luke Skywalker. And why that matters is because this symbolic zodiac is very useful for predicting the world events, the energies of what's likely to happen in the matrix, in the material realm that's made out of duality and polarity, up and down, black and white, light and dark. And in the northern hemisphere, in which, by the way, some astronomical number, like 75% of the world's land masses exist above the equator. Okay. So in the northern hemisphere cosmology of light and dark, the solstice represents the longest day in the year with the sun shining. It's a peak of light. From here, the light can only go down. So between now and the winter solstice, and solstice means standstill, as if for 3 days the sun stands still by our eyeballs, as if there's a standing still energy, we're going to notice that the light begins to go down in the northern hemisphere, as it is the shortest day and the least light on the Christmas or winter solstice. And in that regard, we're going to talk about what might be happening in the United States of America to start out. Why? Because the United States of America is a global superpower. It is the world hegemonic power, the hegemon. It has the most influence over other countries. It's in its post-Pluto return archetype, and that's the fall of let them eat cake, the French Revolution. That was the fall of that aristocratic, noble way of France being France. It became no longer a dominated royal, like the queens and kings ruling France after the French Revolution, which is a Pluto return to the chart of France. And same thing with two falls of Rome. Pluto returns every 250 years led to a fall and a rise, right? An end of one way of Rome becoming and being what it was, and then a reinvention. So the United States is in that reinvention, guys, if you haven't noticed, and it's clinging tooth and nail to its world superpower status. And it's probably going to have to engage in a multipolar world. Pluto in Aquarius brings multipolar worlds. It has historically, it will again and again. Pluto in Aquarius until 2044 is also going to be out of bounds for the next decade, every late summer to late fall. This is also corresponded to French Revolution, Protestant Reformation, and the American Revolution, in which people revolt against power structures that control the narrative. And so we're going to see a huge shift in all of those things. But today, I'm bringing up for the world astrology impact of the solstice, which will be playing out for 3 months. The chapter is 3 months long. Washington, D.C.'s natal chart, not natal chart, Washington, D.C. time. Like what happens when the sun ingresses? What happens on the moment it moves over? Okay, in Washington, D.C., around 4:25 a.m. on the 21st of June, the sun crosses over into the part of the chart that we recognize as Cancer. So here's the sky, and this is the United States. So if you live in the eastern seaboard of North America, around 4:30 a.m., this is when the sun is officially moving into this home domicile, its own kingdom, right? It belongs there. It's going to move into the kingdom of Cancer. And it's at 00 degrees, which is the ingress degree, and it's one of the degrees of the world axis. And it's going to indicate a time of new beginnings regarding how the sky is a mandala. If you locked it into like a Rorschach ink blot test, or you can make sense of it that way, or you can say it's like the snapshot of the sky at the moment the sun ingresses into the sign of Cancer. And in the United States, and that is going to tell us about the themes of the next 3 months. You'll notice the sun ingressing into Cancer in the Washington, D.C. time and place. It's in D.C. that the sun is moving into the second house of the United States of America relative to its coffers, the money of the nation, the finances and economy of the nation, the money in the bank of the nation. And it's interesting because this is also in the natal chart of the United States, the 8th house. And the 8th house is also about trade with other nations in a mundane astrology sense. The money you can have through deals and profiteering and trade agreements with other countries. And you well know that Kuzma and the trade agreement between Canada and the United States and also Mexico is underway, and it isn't seeming to go anywhere right now. And of course, we also have a whole bunch of other things going on in the United States with its trading partners as well, including the lack of profitable trade through the Strait of Hormuz. So as we enter into June the 21st and we look at this, we're going to think aloud, is trade going to change? Are trade things going to shift? And probably yes. The North Node in Pisces, the sign of the seas, would indicate seafaring trade may improve because this is a trine between the June 21st sun and the North Node in the sign of ocean. So ocean trade could find solutions where ocean trade has been stalled or blocked. As the sun ingresses into Cancer, Jupiter is in his exaltation, and he's still there in the exaltation, and Mercury's hovering in here as well. Mercury rules commerce and trade. So we can see maybe a measure of relief regarding the fears that the Strait of Hormuz will be blocked forever and ever. I'm recording this on June the 14th. As I know right now, there's nothing changing as of my recording in June 14th in the news cycle, other than President Trump's birthday is today. I literally have not looked at anything to do with the situation with the war in Iran. So we'll see. I think this is going to indicate a loosening of the travel, the trade, and seafaring trade issues that have been going on for the last several weeks, couple of months or so. As the sun is coming into here in the United States version of reality, okay, we're going to also wonder what this explosive energy is to do with salacious, gossip, scandalous news, including SEX scandals and volcano for volcanic eruptions, and in the 11th house of the United States. Well, this can be so many different things this can play out as in this kind of, not their natal house, but in the 7th house, the 11th house of the ingress chart for Washington, D.C. But there is a sense that because the Aries part of the sky is in the United States, its 5th house of celebrities and entertainment industry, and this is a house of mass exposure of information like movement makers influencing large groups of people. There's probably, my prediction in the next 3 months, a major scandal to do with matters of the entertainment industry in the natal chart of the United States of America. What is the scandal? Who knows? We've had so many right now. We're all reeling from scandal after scandal after scandal. In Donald Trump's chart, the scandals are in the 9th house, which is often connected to legal and court matters as well. So we can see, we'll have to wait. And the energy also of volcanic explosion with scandal and salacious news, and Saturn in a condition of fall. This is going to indicate potentially it causes a fall from some level of authority or power by somebody who's involved in that scandal. That's a simple code for that. You're going to look for people in the news industry, in the entertainment industry, in the media industry even, who might have strong placements in the sign of Aries. I'm not going to speculate all over the map right now. I do know that, for example, what's that British broadcaster's guy's name who was involved in accusation of sexual impropriety? Come on, guys. He's like kind of like hippie looking, always has his bare chest and his curly hair, and he has a controversial podcast. Oh my God, it'll come back to me. Somebody in the comments, let me know who I'm talking. Brandon. Oh my God, what's his name? Russell Brand. Russell Brand, I believe, memory serves me, has his sun conjunct Salacia or his moon conjunct Salacia natally in Aries. So there's a possibility that kind of thing can resurface, but anybody with a strong Aries placement in these, particularly in the entertainment and celebrity and media world, may experience a major, major blowout in their reputation, for example. Okay. In the next 3 months. And Donnie Lim will be coming on my channel to do world astrology every month now. People love him, and he's often good at guessing which of these celebrity scandals is going to pop next. So we'll talk to Donnie about his thoughts of that as well. Okay, so also, by the way, I am recording this video on June 14th, but on June the 20th, you should have your 12 all signs videos already dropped by me. So make sure you guys take a look at yesterday's drop, and you've got a deep dive into the July month ahead by me for your signs, 12 separate videos. All right. So what else could I say about the general vibe as this ingress is going on? The United States of America is always going to be and forever will be a Sag rising. And in fact, United States of America's Sagittarius rising is at 12 degrees on a war star called Antares. Well, it happens to be, strangely and oddly enough, that this year the war star Antares and another star, Aldebaran, Archangel Michael, Archangel Uriel, is lined up perfectly in Washington, D.C. at the time of the ingress. What is this exactly? Well, it can indicate a lot of energy around conflict or war, because Antares in the house of open enemies is a star of the rival of Mars. It's red, just like Mars, and it is considered an indicator where arrows fly, right? War energy. Now, it's possible that this is going to indicate the United States of America getting stuck in some kind of forever war and energetic. And this descendant at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, drum roll please, is exactly the ascendant degree of the prime minister of the nation of I. It ends in an L. They have a blue and white flag, and they are busy attacking all of their neighbors in the Middle East. You know, that nation, I have to code that, the little wasp nation, little hornet's nest over there, carefully not to get a shadow ban / demonetization. I don't have sponsors. I live on the ad revenue I get from YouTube, so it's my business. But you get what I mean. How uncanny that this person, BN, the ruler of that little nation, his ascendant is exactly on the descendant of the USA. The descendant of the USA on the day of the actual ingress from Washington, D.C.'s perspective, but actually on the ascendant of the natal chart, because the ascendant of the natal chart is here. This is a real flipped script for the USA, right? As ascendant and descendant positions are flipped on the day of the ingress. So I could make a case that that character, that prime minister of the nation of I, ends in an L, in the Middle East, is extremely woven into the next 3 months when it comes to matters of the United States and its policies and its governance and its war decisions. I could particularly say that they just slipped into some kind of bill, this idea they're going to mesh the military of their country with that greatest ally country. And that would be very hard to undo. Right. And so there's this attempt to bake in or cement in, no matter what happens, there will always be this alliance. And I don't even know that there is an alliance. I think that there is a lot of blackmail and a lot of surveillance and a lot of spying by that country on the United States, who controls the vast majority of the legislative body, the Senate and the Congress. So at this point, the vassal state is not the greatest ally in the Middle East state. It's the vassal state is the United States. It is a vassal state of IL with a blue and white flag. Okay, it's my concern. That's my thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. But this is the reason I'm bringing it up is the astrology, not my personal opinion, okay? It's because what are the odds that that prime minister has his exact ascendant exactly on the descendant, which can be working partnerships and agreements and business partnerships. So the United States is in a business partnership with that man, right? That is reviled by most people in the world as, an utterly despicable psychopath. It's fond of killing, which is what psychopaths can do freely. So we'll see what happens. There's a disruptive energy here as well. Shock and awe, disruption, changes maybe, and maybe it's a change of that fusion between the countries. More importantly, Uranus and the ascendant are bending the nodes of fate. I've talked about this in multiple other videos. It happened in like 1691, the last time this sky looked like this. Okay. So we're in an epic crossroads pivot timeline shifting thing globally. But for the United States, having its ascendant flipped to Gemini instead of Sag, like the day of, it kind of qualitatively characterizes the nation as acting like a Gemini, flip-flopping, Jekyll Hyde, up and down, changeable, but also really fused with the ascendant of BB. Okay. Next, what is going on the day of the ingress as well that has me quite curious is the asteroid America will have hit the south node, and we're going to see some kind of energy building here around the 21st into the next 3 months of some loss, surrender, or letting go for the United States of America. Now, it is ruled by Mercury in a money house, so it could be stock market or economic trading turbulence in the domestic economy and in the stock market, like signals of a recession or something. And Chiron in Taurus in the 12th house is a house that can also be about expenditures. And so maybe there's going to be a huge inflationary increase. And that is very common that inflation happens when Neptune is in a fire sign. This is recapitulating Chiron and Taurus, the Jimmy Carter era with the gas pump lines, high interest rates, super inflation, and downturns in the stock market. So it's right back to the oil crisis of the Jimmy Carter era. And it's also back to the stock market crash of 1929 and the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. Chiron and Taurus brings these epic inflationary environments, natural resource crises, and downturns in markets and increase in expenditure, inflation, the cost of living. So we're probably going to see that repeat this summer. In fact, Chiron is here until September 17th, and this ingress chart suggests these are possibilities as well. Last thing I want to mention before I do the all signs portion of our reading today. There is the potential for some epic death, okay? Death endings, whatever you want to call it. Somebody expiring. This is Lachesis. I'm touching Lachesis with my cursor. One of the three Greek goddesses of fate who drew the thread of life spun by Clotho. So cuts and snip. Well, drew the thread and Clotho cuts it, but it's our thread of our life. And it can mean like taking a time out or a pause or something in between. But in my real-time use of Clotho and Lachesis, I'm often seeing things connected to death. Okay, because I guess the spinners of fate spin, pull, and cut. So it's possible there's some sort of loss or a death of someone. And on the moon, right, on the moon, which is a moon that is a first quarter moon, you would look to people who are very Virgoian or countries who are very Virgoian. Mexico's Virgo rising. Lebanon is Virgo rising. And BB has his midheaven up here in Virgo as well. It impacts his Saturn midheaven combination. And it is possible that there is an ending in the relationship of America to that character and his political ambition. And I think if there are elections in that country in the fall, he will lose. So it could just be not actually losing one's life, but losing one's position of power. So a prediction is he loses his position of power by October the 23rd, September the 23rd, or somewhere around there. So we shall see how that works. Just losing political power doesn't mean losing influence. So who knows? All right. Tulsi Gabbard, Sun in Aries, right? And Mars as well, I believe. I always said she's going to run for office. She will run for the presidency. And now she's sort of cutting ties with the Trump administration verbally and making announcements and retired from her position. So, she also has that Aries sun and perhaps, and Joe Kent as well, her Aries sun up here with scandals and volcanic stuff doesn't mean that she's in a scandal. She could be announcing something that's scandalous. And that's because, of course, the energy of the 11th house is often connected to something that hits the global collective masses in some way, like it reaches people, it can influence people. And there's Athena, the goddess of victory and war, and a fallen Saturn, like a fallen general who does a bad job. And in context of the Donald Trump sky, like in his own natal Leo rising chart, this is also going to connect to things to do with foreign involvements and foreign actions he's been in charge of. And also the nation of Iran has its sun up here at 11 degrees. So Tulsi Gabbard and Iran, its solar leadership and scandals or shocking news stories will be probably forthcoming by the third week of September. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's watch those characters take the center stage over the course of the next 3 months. Let's go ahead and do your sign. Now, as we do, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and hype the video if you like this stuff. And don't forget that if you didn't know, every third week I drop 12 videos. These ones are almost 35 to 40 minutes long for each of them. These are long because there's a lot going on in July. We have a first in a lifetime Barbo's basket. We have a Leo South Node story, and Leo will be joined by the South Node as well eventually. And that's going to lead us into a story by the end of July that we haven't seen since 1893 or so. And so I really hope you'll enjoy your sign. So go check your sign that I dropped the day before this video. This is the week ahead video blended into a 3-month prediction for the solstice. Go check out that bundle of great good news you've got behind you. I like July more or less. I like it a lot better than the other months. August is an eclipse, total solar eclipse in Leo. That's going to be a bit more gnarly. So go check out your videos. Your all signs drop yesterday. There is a playlist here on YouTube that just simply gives you, every time I drop the 12 videos, there is a playlist where you can go suss out your individual video that dropped yesterday, June the 20th. Okay, back to the sky. We're going to go through each separate sign. One of the things I want to talk about this week in specific is I really want to talk about the Venus-Saturn trine that can bring money and love, ease, and as well as how the sun trines the North Node. That is a very powerful indication of a part of our life where we're all aligning more clearly in some destined way with a path of success connected to what we really want as our life's purpose. And we'll touch that lightly for your sign as well. Let's get started, shall we? Now we're going to go through your sun, moon, and rising sign. Let me explain the difference between your sun, your moon, and your rising. I hear sometimes astrologers teaching or mentioning that your rising sign is your spiritual essence and your true self. And I'm disappointed or concerned by that perspective because it's not the true perspective. Now, you can say, how do I know that? Well, I'm using the ancient traditions. And I also know that from my own life experience. You know, if anybody here in my comments has lived through Uranus going over your ascendant, or Neptune going over your ascendant, or Pluto going over your ascendant, especially by degree, you know it impacts the character in the simulation. Your health, your body is there, the physical form that your spirit inhabits. Your disposition to the world, happy, sad, mad, the I am, you define, I'm a writer, I'm a communicator, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, you know, how you identify the character. I am smart, I am prickly, I am funny, the whole character, you know, nurture nature, call it what you will. You have a particular way of being that starts to show up as a child, particularly formative years. And by age of 7, it's pretty locked and loaded. We are not anything truly connected to the ascendant other than it is the vessel for the light of spirit. And then we play through that vessel like a spacesuit, right? In reality, that is the way we are using the vessel for life. So your ascendant is circumstantially accurate because it's very prone to the vagaries of fate. It's connected to the moon. It's connected to lunar light. It's connected to the nodes of fate. You're essentially driven by fate when your character is just the only thing you're living from. Okay. If you're living from your deeper spiritual self, that's your solar energy. I'm a fire sign in Aries. That's my essence. That's who I am. I'm the fire flavor of God, air, earth, water, fire. And we have modalities. I'm cardinal. You could be cardinal, fixed, or mutable. There's flavors of the divine spark. You are one. Think of a rainbow, one light prisming into various colors. That one light that you are, that one shade of hue of the divine, that is your sun sign by modality, by element, by house, by degree. And then we have the sun playing in matter. So you can think of the sun as the actor or the actress who plays a character in the movie, or as the game player who chooses a character for the simulation in the video game. The same idea. And the moon is your mind. You're thinking, when I say mind, it's how I think and feel. Sufis say thinking and feeling, you got nothing. Stop. Don't rely on your feelings. They're not going to be true. Don't rely on your thinkings. They're not going to be true. Your thoughts will never lead you to truth. It is your knowingness. And your knowing place is deep, intuitive, and still, and it's connected to the knowing heart. So there is a part of you, okay, that is always thinking and feeling and feeling and thinking. That's the moon. The moon reflects the true light of the sun, the spiritual light, but it doesn't have any intrinsic light of its own. It's a reflector. Your mind and your thoughts reflect the true light of your spiritual essence. They are not authentically real. They're just reflecting something that is real. But we live a life with thoughts and feelings. So when you meditate and when you get enlightened, when you're spiritually still, you're turning the moon down. You're dimming your moonlight so you can be in the stillness. Practical note, moon is your mother, sun is your father. Moon is home and nest and safety, and sun can be career and purpose. Okay, ascendant is just a circumstantial character in the sim. In order to keep the chart looking consistent for Aries, I want you to notice that. Yes, the sun is at 29 degrees of Gemini, but pretend that it is at 0 degrees of your 4th house. For the first 2 signs or so, you're going to be looking at the sun actually not in the right place. Okay. So June the 21st, we begin the solstice, but we will note the sun has Aries sun, moon, and rising. You begin this new 3-month cycle, the solstice cycle, with the sun sitting in, of course, 0 degrees of your 4th house happens every year. But more importantly, the very fluid movement of the moon as well. This is a moon that suggests that something wants to happen over here in your 6th house of, what kind of house is that? Well, in a new beginning and a fresh start way, you want to start something new and fresh in your work habits, routines, clients, employee-employer stories. And I don't think that you are going to do it without letting go of something, because when the sun is here at 0 degrees of Cancer on the 21st, and as it moves into the midpoint of halfway through your Leo house, is a fresh start new moon. This is a dark moon, and then it becomes that waxing crescent, sliver thumbnail of light. And that's also by Stephen Forrest, an extremist moon. You must go to radical extreme energy to keep the light shining. And that is here in the workhouse. And you could do major changes in your work habits and routines, as well as major lifestyle changes that improve your physical health and well-being. Mars suggests the next 3 months is what you cut out of your diet. Mars is cutting through your food and mouth and dietary habits. And this will be almost an extreme energy to improve health through radical dietary changes. I have autoimmune conditions, Aries, Sun, and Moon. I'll probably do the autoimmune protocol diet and stick to it so that my 2 to 3 autoimmune conditions stop flaring. So there's a radical cutting and severing with Chiron, the healer here, to say, cut your dietary habits, change your style of eating, shift it for radical reinvention of health. What you release and let go is what you get back. Like, don't add things to your diet, let go of things. Okay. Now, I think, and even Lachesis is here. So what must sort of, in the thread of life, what must be kind of sidestepped or paused? I should have taken Asteroid America out. It doesn't really matter. But if you were employing people, you could employ some Americans. Okay. The other thing I would mention about this is beautiful energy is playing out this week ahead. When we look at the fact that Venus is trying to soften up a very difficult Saturn in your first house. This is for the rising sign, or you have Saturn close to your sun, especially if your sun's near 13 degrees of Aries, or Saturn close to your moon at 13 Aries, 3 degrees on either side. That can be your mother experiencing hardship as well, moon, father figures, sun. So this Saturn is kind of a compression here because he's like Mr. Discernment and sage-like knowledge and wisdom and time and patience and perseverance, but he's in a reckless, fast-moving daredevil sign of Aries, and he's not at his best trying to manage fire, cardinal fire, when he's a patient, slow mover who discerns very well most of the time. And as this Saturn is kind of raining on some parades for you, right? Aries, sun, moon, and rising, Venus is trying to soften it up. And I like that energy this week. You're going to feel it playing out around the 23rd to the 26th. Okay. So in your time zone adjust. So 23rd to 26th in North America. That would be like Tuesday to Friday even. And what will you soothe? You will soothe the fire of love, where you have love relationships that need some soothing energy. You will soothe the relationships with your children. Your children will soothe their relationships with you to bring an ease and a harmony and a grace to those connections. And because as Venus is moving through Leo and suggests this soothingness is happening this week, she might translate some of the soothingness to your finances as well. She's in a house of good fortune. It has to do with winning money. She's opposite Pluto for a wealth energy, but with friction. And she connects to, of course, your long range plans through time as she owns your money house here. So all said and done, there may be some soothing of the monetary parts of your life coming through this week, Tuesday through to Friday, as well in the same time frame, a little bit earlier, perhaps more like Monday through to Wednesday. You're going to notice that the North Node and the Sun are flowing together. Destined changes in life purpose, energies connected to writing, moving it forward by a day. So I guess we're all going to do it a day ahead to capture that. Okay. Major flow between the North Node and the 4th house. So this is spiritual shifts. This is deep illumination of your ancestral line and your childhood issues and your past life stuff in order to remedy it, in order to bring more success to your life as a whole, in order to increase the chance of spiritual enlightenment and awakening happening in this life. And this is a lovely 3 months to go deeper into solitude and meditation and ashrams or spiritual investigation, and maybe again root out childhood stuff, past life stuff, ancestral stuff that could hold you back from bounty and abundance and prosperity and joy and enjoyment in your very own life. Mercury here agrees with this. He's like, I got the divine downloads, the spiritual dreams, the messages from your stillness and silence within. He can bring those things to you. Good luck with that. An incredibly interesting tale. FYI, you're baking in Mars for the next 3 months in the 2nd house. You're probably, if you're not, you could be a self-starter and begin an entrepreneurial gig, but you're cutting expenditures and expenses, and you may be getting ready to cut out a form of income between now and the 3rd week of September. Don't forget, we're really talking about the 21st, but I've moved the calendar ahead to keep the sky consistent. So, and I'm not even going to be able to keep it consistent. So you're going to have to trust me when I tell you certain things, like where the moon is sitting. So when I look at your Taurus sun, moon, and rising sky, and I think about this solstice, the first thing that comes to mind is you're baking in Chiron. It doesn't matter in the sense that he's here till September 17th anyway, but it doubles down on this is an epic 3 months for you in which you're really getting to know Chiron. Where are you wounded in your life? Chiron in your Taurus sun, your career and purpose wounds, your Taurus ascendant, your body, health, and identity, I am what, and your Taurus moon, your mother relationships, or your relationship to emotional stuff, or your home life. So you guys are really sticking the landing on really a deep dive focus over the next 3 months on the energy of what this wounded healer is telling you. And you're going to make life changes slowly in a general slow bulldozer, but slow moving pace in order to accommodate the Chironic healing that's called forth here. The actual sun, of course, ingresses every solstice, summer solstice, into your third house. But this year, the moon will be parked in the fifth house, bringing you greater healing and openings and positive, powerful new directions, perhaps fresh starts in an extreme waxing crescent moon way when it comes to fertility. If you are of a childbearing age or your partner is, then you have to be careful because this is going to bake in 3 months of high fertility. Okay? But like, I'm not going to lie. It's like, whoa. And it's also that moon will square Uranus for shocking fertility surprises. So be careful if you're not thinking of making a baby, because a baby may be made anyway for those Taurus, particularly rising, but I would say moon and sun can still be impacted. The other energy going on here is what you need to let go of and release and surrender. You're kind of baking and releasing and surrendering fifth house things. This can be also something new, which is a releasing of an attachment to a romantic love story, for example, or to an over attachment to one of your children. But this is also as a south node, it's going to kind of say, do you want to dig into the deep archetypal Earth Warren, Virgo? You want to dig underground for some of the talents and gifts you have held in other lifetimes? Because if you do, you might go to an intense extreme to try to amplitude that up. And it could indicate becoming an entrepreneur or setting up an online business, or doing something that's third house, teaching, scrying, divining, fortune telling, marketing, selling, or using a skill that you have a natural ability to create your own business. So some of you will be self-starters for sure, and start something new that you want to do. It's really not an employment story, for example. Could be a side hustle, but it could become real later on. And Venus is the Lord of your sign, baking her ass into your fourth house. That indicates a lot of pleasure, enjoyment, and maybe prosperity in and from your home. Just in the week ahead, though, she's going to do that beautiful tighter trine coming through the week. Tuesday through to Friday, to Saturn, indicating a easing up of tensions you've had in the home, or connections to things you want to do in solitude and alone time, opening up time for you to do things that are creative, artistic, or enjoyable in the home or in a place of solitude. It's almost like the creative cauldron of your downtime that it wants to show you the way this week ahead. And I don't mind that the North Node, South Node thing is happening, because the sun bakes in a vibration for the next 3 months, actually. But it's pretty notable on the 24th of this week that says we want purpose and flow, in touch with the muse and the creative verge of our natural talents and abilities to extend our worldly success into the top of the sky. You want to be more successful in the world, in the career gains, but you're tuning in to the muse. And you might be educating yourself and learning and studying in order to do that, because the sun, of course, in the third house of education skill space is activated with the nodes of fate in houses 5 and 11. All right, let's keep on going for the Gemini sun, moon, and rising. This is not just about the week ahead, reminding you this is your 3-month forecast based on the solstice chart. You're baking in a vibrational frequency on the solstice of the sun, as always, in your money, earnings, and resources house. Yet this time the moon will be having her stay in Virgo, not Libra. I can't keep her there, but you have to trust me that she will be on June the 21st. She will be here. So June the 21st solstice tells us you're going to focus a lot on your home life. It's a waxing crescent moon. It's got a bit of an extreme edge of when push comes to shove. What you do in your home and how you do it is about making money, earning money. So there's a lot of focus on being prosperous in the home, but you're also letting go and releasing something you need to surrender. And it can be a lot of stuff, anything actually in your life that gets in the way of you having this sense of sprouting new seeds from the dark earth below into the world from something you're doing in and from your home base. And that's ruled by Mercury, right, in that house of your earnings. So you can pretty well count that prosperity, abundance, and earnings for all Geminis wants to increase, but you're rooting the new prosperity, fresh sprouts from home-based activities of some kind, or things that you're doing in your downtime, private life, quiet life, including projects or, making new ideas and, generating a fresh new money-making directions for a lot of you. And then we also can note as well that prosperity may emerge through an inheritance, a legacy wealth inheritance. Somebody in your family of origin bequeaths money and passes it on to you. That could be a story in the next 3 months for some of you. Definitely consider that. In general, with the week ahead, one of the stories I definitely see for you, and I should get rid of the midheaven ascendant. I apologize. I was just puttering around on the back end there. Midheaven and ascendant don't need to be there. No. So one of the things you want to note this week ahead is, and you're kind of baking it into the next 3 months, Venus's flow into Saturn. And this is going to be really activated, really more tightly, like Tuesday through to Thursday. But it's a vibe through the whole week and through the next 3 months where Venus is flowing beautifully to Saturn and wants Saturn to firm up and shore up one's career gains because you are busy down here selling, marketing, writing, communicating, or being a diva of the social media landscape. And it's not too shabby to bake that in, by the way, for the next 3 months, but persistence pays and you will become way more productive in the social media landscape of your reality or in things that are to do with skills-based teaching, skills-based learning, writing, marketing, selling, and anything you do with your hands. So if you're artistic, what do you do with your hands? She does rule do you sew? Do you do pottery? Nice glow up in that area. You start to feel it this week ahead. And finally, of course, we don't mind this North Node in its gorgeous flow as well with the sun, being more on purpose and fated destined ways and how you Geminis make money. And you want to love what you do. Aphrodite is here and you want to be abundant and prosperous and you want to flow to worldly success through the joy and the abundance and the jovial way in which you are earning money. I like this a lot for also being that digging into the home life, guys, and planting new seeds about ways that you want to be productive and prosperous in your life. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. We have your yearly solar ingress into your sign. Happy birthday, Cancers. And this for the world is a big deal. Today's video, we're talking about the next 3 months, and we're extending it, of course, we're also covering some of the weekly elements. The next 3 months, of course, will bake in Aphrodite and Mercury and Jove here. So maybe you're going to fall madly, wildly, crazily in love with somebody, some situation, some person, something, with yourself. And it's going to be a larger than life vibration. But hey, some of you could get fertile or pregnant in the next 3 months as well, baking that Jupiter story in for this summer solstice chart through to the fall equinox. The moon will fall this time around in not Libra. Let's go back a day and see if I can anchor that into the proper house. The moon will fall on June the 21st, so bakes it into your third house. This is really a positive new beginning, a pushing something out, a waxing crescent moon, like an extreme energy. Like you're going to get this thing to happen no matter what. And you want it to be successful. So it takes a lot of effort, watering and planting the soil and making sure that there's fertility here in your third house. It's really great for writing projects. If any of you want to be writers, Mercury rules your writing house. He's with you on the solstice. He's in your sign. So writing, marketing, selling, teaching, and learning are highlighted, and you're really going for it. Like you're almost like a zealot for these things. You want to make it happen, make it work. And this includes any element of the social media online world as well. But certainly some of you might also have a zest for short distance travel and be wanting to also extend your energy very significantly into the world of your siblings. And so especially a sibling one younger, more so than any other sibling. And you're baking in the energy of a beautiful Venus-Saturn trine to make something softer and easier on your financial front, and maybe also connected to working less hard in your career. Hard work Saturn, digging in, persevering, grinding. And here's Venus says, soften up, loosen up, let's release some of it and have more joy in the work and more prosperity as well. This is very notable for you this week, Tuesday through Thursday especially, but it actually is going to bake in that sort of theme for the entirety of the next 3 months. More money, less hard work equals more success. Maybe it's work smart, not hard. Not entirely sure. Your sense of wanting to be on purpose in life as a general theme is the sun moves into your first house. The sun is a natural exaltation lord of your career. This will actually want you to focus on money and career. Sun rules your second house of earnings. And again, money, career, and destiny, money, career, and purpose. Alignment. The North Node is in the Dharma house, to be in alignment with one's deepest calling and truest purpose. On the other side, book publishing. What a humdinger for any one of you, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, who wants to go back to school, higher education, learn a skill, and or get writing and publishing deals. This is your next 3 months. Use it or lose it. And moving on to our next sign. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. The solstice displays the energy promise here of money increasing. The light of your finances is on the increase. This is the crescent moon waxing, beginning the new light from the dark moon, and it's shining beautifully on the actual moment of the solstice ingress. Okay, so we're not in the exact moment of the solstice ingress, but if we were in the exact moment of the solstice ingress, you'd see what I mean. There is a quality of this that could literally increase your financial fortunes, right? You want to make more money. You want to increase your earnings. You want to have more in your wallet or pocketbook. Basically, this is what you're going to get. It's conceivable that getting more money isn't your goal, but it's conceivable more money is going to happen. And therefore, lean into the energetic baked-in signature of what you must let go of in order to increase what you have. So you might have to separate out the weeds from the fertile soil. Where is there something that you should release in order to increase what you already have, and maybe align more purposely with purpose, because the sun here exalts your dharmic purpose house and is trining the North Node in financial increase, 8th house money. Now, 8th house money can be insurance payouts, inheritance money's coming to you from something connected to someone in a hospital setting here. And Jupiter says great abundance from like a legacy wealth transfer or an inheritance from a grandparent or something like that. Now, Venus is the goddess of money herself, and she is flowing in your sign, and you kind of bake in, I am beautiful, I am likable, I'm charming, I carry my divahood and devohood on my forward front way of being during the next 3 months. And at the same time, you align with a kind of softening of what was contracting in your 9th house. Maybe it has to do with contractions on legal matters or educational matters, or contractions and difficulty on long distance travel matters. And now this is smoothing out. This is kind of like something good is trying to happen here, not just this week. It is this week, right? Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, but it's also sort of cementing it into the next 3 months. So pay attention to that story. So my guidance for all the Leos is don't be afraid to align joy, harmony, and ease with making money. Well, not making money, but allowing money to flourish in your life. But also the North Node and the rest of the sky, they kind of hint at, you're attempting to move more into alignment with purpose, right? Because Venus is the Lord of your 10th house of career, and the waxing crescent moon's in your 2nd house. So you're really like, by being aligned with purpose, purpose-driven in your career and career path, I mean, you're going to make changes there. You're baking in Mars to the 10th house. Significant career transitions and changes exist for you in this next 3-month period. So keep your eye on that and watch what happens, okay? And I am recording. I had to take a little break there. And I am going to continue with the next sign. Yes, I am. And the next sign will, of course, be Virgo, sun, moon, and rising, you magical priestess and priesthood beings. I think of monks and nuns, it's you guys. And here we have you. So Virgo, partly the energy of a waxing crescent moon, or mainly what is the thing that matters here. Because every time the sun enters into your 11th house of long range goals, dreams, and wishes, and the greater gains of your career and your friendship groups and circles, and your karmic and cosmic rewards, and your windfalls and pennies from heaven, every time the sun moves in here, every solstice, and gives you a baked in 3-month story, the moon can be somewhere different. The moon is a crescent moon. It's the first little light, the sliver fingernail after the dark new moon. You are in extreme energy right now. This next 3 months is almost like what? Extreme about what you must release, surrender, and let go. There's good old Lachesis kind of connecting to the pulling of the thread of life. This is also connected to ornamenta, and you might ornament yourself more beautifully by jewelry, decorate your body, decorate your face, whatever, but you're very ornamental. That said, there's some beautiful sort of intensity that all you Virgos have over the next 3 months, like that sprout of green that comes out from under the ground and must, like, literally is just trying to push through the hard packed soil of the dark moon. So you have to tend a sacred calling almost to fertilize something that you wish to grow. And I'm going to tell you, it can be pregnancy for some of you. Depends on how old you are, whether or not you're at a certain age. This is like conception energy. No, not the new moon. It's that waxing crescent when the first glimmer of life, as sperm and ovum meet, create fertility. If you're a Virgo rising, especially, you could be in a very 3-month window of becoming pregnant, and you are ruled by your pregnancy house is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is trining the goddess of conception, Venus. So if you get pregnant, it's a spirit of the dead of somebody in your family line who's coming through you, or perhaps in your in-laws side of the family, either which one, if you have a partner. So watch for pregnancy and fertility, all of you Virgos. You could also conceive a project, a baby business, a baby art project. So you can also conceive those sorts of things in the next 3 months. With this energy this week, as well as Venus trining Saturn, things that have been difficult, like with addiction, self-undoing, bad habits and patterns, and things to do with not getting your creative downtime, solitude, those are improving this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but those are baking in anyway what it's like to be you in the next 3 months. The alignment with purpose, the sun is our spiritual essence. And this sun in Cancer wants you to actualize some of your dreams and long-range goals and wishes in a trine to the North Node in the house of marriage. Have you had a dream to walk down the aisle, get married, to be in a profound union with a soulmate love? If you're single, maybe you'll find someone in the next 3 months. Maybe a friend will introduce you. If you're already with someone, you're really wanting to align to strengthen that relationship. And some of what this extreme moon could do, focused on another person, is cement that relationship into a new level of commitment. Maybe moving in together, says Jupiter, who owns your 4th house. And a long-range goal is to buy a home with your beloved, move in with your beloved, get married to your beloved, have a wedding proposal from and with your beloved. You're seeming like this extreme energy wants to apply itself to actualizing some of the long-range goals and dreams you've cherished and held for a long time. And Santa Claus, fairy godfather, is trying to help out in the next 3 months. Pay attention. You could come into some inheritance money as well. You're one of the few signs over the next 3 months that may receive legacy wealth from your family of origin. All right, hang in there, or from your partner's family of origin. If you are married, hang in there. Let me know how it goes, Virgo. This is your 3-month forecast. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Your sky is telling me you are leveling up in this solstice ingress, because you are trying your best to be jovial Jupiter at the top of the sky, looking like a superstar of bounty, prosperity, luck, and growth, expansion, and goodness in your career space. You're baking that story in for 3 months at a new intensity. The new intensity is Aphrodite. Is there something that you love about what you do? Do you want to fall in love with what you do? With the waxing crescent moon baking into your 12th house, if you get any kind of career expansion, it could be digital income, borderless revenue, money from an international company, moving to another country in order to make more money, or just becoming more successful through your international venues, or through what you're focused on in your creative solitude and downtime. Because this is also a waxing crescent moon, the first crescent moon after the dark moon in the 12th house, there's a deep call to follow and fall into more of an alignment with some spiritual practice. If you don't have one yet, you're going to push like an extremist to get through it. Like you're not just going to meditate, every couple of days. You're going to set in motion like a discipline structure for spiritual seeking or spiritual attainment or spiritual lessons or spiritual practice, basically. The waxing crescent moon also could suggest with the South Node that there is a loss of somebody in your life that connects to hospital settings. And Saturn in the setting place would be an elder in your family system, like a grandparent or something like that. This is just a rite of passage. We all lose people. In this way, though, with Jupiter's placement, this person may also be able to pass money down the line towards you. So there could be some receiving of inheritances from your spousal relationship, partnership, in-laws, or from your own side of the family in the next 3 months. Just pay attention to the Venus smoothing out difficulties in your marriage. If you've been having a hard time with a business partnership, audience, client, marketplace, or your significant other, contraction, especially if they have mental illness or addiction issues, and watch out for that gossipy salacia. Hopefully they're not the target of gossip, volcanic salaciousness in business and love partnerships, but it gets smoothed out this week, Tuesday to Thursday, but it bakes in a vibe that all of the intensity, the gossip, the difficulties regarding business partners, clients, customers, or your significant other bakes in smooth sailing. Something is getting better. It's improving. And maybe your relationship waters are getting more harmonious in some fundamental way. And that will be something that could be true for the next several months. And you want to increase your employees, if you have them, you want to increase your success, worldly success, and achievements in how you work in the world, says the sun, right here. Career and Arta House 6, you're going to increase your professional success. It's all but guaranteed that this is an upswing in a destined faded way, a professional advancement for you in the next 3 months. Great to take an opportunity to ask for a raise, go to apply for new jobs, or just, own the space. You got this. It is your super area of success. Your career gains are on the rise. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, Scorpios, the moon from this solar ingress, this is your next 3-month forecast plus a touch onto the week, suggests that at a waxing crescent moon, trust me, it's not here. I'll try to go back a day and see if I can hold it. So on the 21st, not the 20th, okay? Well, it's not worth doing. Just trust me. The sun moves into your 9th house of God, truth, wisdom, knowledge, international themes, higher education, childbirth, grandchildren, etc. It does that once a year. No big deal. You're baking in Jupiter, pregnancy, fertility, more grandchildren, happy childbirthing, all of that. Falling in love with a newborn child could happen. My Scorpio son was having a baby, that fits. But also there's a waxing crescent moon that's going to happen in around 23 degrees of Virgo, and it's going to call you to push to an extreme energy about letting go, South Node, of what you no longer need. Which are your old dreams, goals, wishes, and plans? What are your yearnings and desires? Well, you'll release a few of them while you have a new extreme energy about what your new goals and plans will be that's ruled by Mercury in your 9th house. It's about dharmic alignment, going back to school and university, book publishing, international travel, children and childbirth, parenting could be way activated here for you. Sometimes we have our first child and we make a decision that we're completely renovating our life, right? And not even just for a time out. There may be something here for you to consider. This energy also can end up looking like, with the sun trining the North Node of Fate this week and baking this in, that you are really purposely moving towards a dharmic alignment, the use of your talents and gifts that you were born to express, the way that you want to find a meaningful life. Of course, North Node here increases your attention to your children, newborn, old, middle of the run, or like adult children, a focus there as well. Any of you who are artists or creatives, game on. This is your primary enjoyment level intensity over the next 3 months. And there is also a smoothing and soothing of the career and work life, where you might have felt heavy-hearted, anxious, or burdened by the job environment, okay? Or your employees, if you have them, are taking you down. And now Venus is smoothing it out, saying, it's okay. We're going to work on some solution to the career and job employment energy that feels really good to you and is no longer giving you a crunchy feeling in the next 3 months. So for my son, who's going to take a paternity leave, he's going to get out of his work. Well, that's going to feel really good because he won't be there. So just giving you an example of like job work relief, okay, in the next 3 months. And we'll continue on. We're talking about the solstice. We're talking about the 3-month forecast. It embeds some of the week ahead, of course, as well. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. I notice here that we see that every year we have a new beginning, 3-month period that begins, as it does this time, the 21st of June, and add 3 months. And it always happens to be in your chunky money house. It's just a part of your code. But the moon's placement tells us different stories, and the moon will be waxing crescent moon in your 10th house. Trust me, the moon is just migrated. It belongs to your 10th. So don't ask me why the moon is in Libra. It's actually going to be on the solstice hour in your 10th house at 23 degrees of your 10th house. So if your midheaven's there, 23 degrees of Virgo, by the way, like a famous person in the Middle East has his midheaven there. Well, that waxing crescent moon is extreme energy. You're going to make an extreme change in some area of your life. And some of this can be divorce agreements. Like, I'm out of here. I'm finishing this relationship. You're going to make an extreme push or shove regarding shared monies with a spouse, with inheritance monies, with monies from your in-laws. You're going to make an extreme energy in your career if it has any connection to changing your career in such a way that it changes your financial structures radically in your life. Like, major changes in career focus if you have a career that financially changes structures in your life. The sun baking in from the inheritance house with jovial Jupiter, who dispenses wealth and prosperity, right? Trining the North Node in the house of the family of origin. Yeah. Some of you are radically changing your career direction because you might be coming into money, whether it's inheritance money, spousal separation agreements, and divorce money. There's changes here, and there could even be changes of locale, where you live, and new homes are on the horizon. And you might want to move abroad or to a foreign land or a far off place. In the next 3 months, you may set those themes in motion, Sagittarius. Jupiter is your Lord, and he's trying to bounty you up in the 8th house, baking in more money somehow. This week, we see Venus, and this bakes in for 3 months. This week, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Venus is soothing out difficult fire where you've been burning up in the 5th house. Now, this can be contraction around creative, entrepreneurial, sexual, romantic love, or situations with your children. Maybe some scandals or salacious things have happened here. And now all of a sudden, Venus is trying to soothe the waters of those stories and bring some peace to the narrative. Venus can be a guide, a teacher, a spiritual mentor who's helping you cope with something very difficult with your children, with your romantic life. And it bakes it in for the next several months, 3 months. And if you've been contracted around your creative entrepreneurial stuff, including projects that could be published, you're going to find some ease this week, and it will be so for the 3 months ahead. And lastly, I will say this: when Venus is in the 9th house, in the sign of Leo, and she is in a Lakshmi house, which is wealth, luck, and prosperity, and she rules your 11th house of great gains in your career or windfalls and pennies from heaven, this can look like a good financial run for you over the next 3 months, baking in that story for the solstice in the summer to the fall equinox. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. Here's your solstice 3-month forecast, knowing that I'll touch on this week ahead as well. The sun has moved, as she always does, into a yearly ingress on the 21st of the month. This is in the sign of Cancer. This is, of course, always happening every year. Where the moon falls this time is in your 9th house. The moon is a waxing crescent lunation in the house of God, but also courts, legal matters, foreign lands, spiritual, like religious ideologies, higher education, and grandchildren. Waxing crescent moon, which is to do with motherhood and fertility, can indicate an exciting time in which there will be a grandchild coming into your life in the next 3 months, whether the child will be born or the announcement thereof. This is more of a conception lunation. So you could find that one of your children will have conceived a child by the time you get to the 3rd week of September. You'll also notice that this is a moon that's increasing its intensity. Its light is just beginning to come off the dark moon with something you need to let go of. You may need to let go of things to do with your spiritual beliefs, to do with the path you thought was your purpose, to do with international themes and people, to do with a book publishing situation. There's a letting go, while there's also extreme new energy happening here all at once. Now, the new moon is also, coming to light off of the house of committed love and business partnerships. And so there's a sense that you might want to have an extreme new beginning in a long-term committed love relationship, and it may be connected to foreign people and places. You have this week, Tuesday through Thursday, but baking in a theme for the 3 months as well, a harmony and flow between Venus and Saturn, where things have been difficult in your home and where you live, in your private, quiet, non-public life, in your domicile where you are at home. You're going to see some ease and harmony as Venus tries to layer in something more satisfying. And it can be buying a home, selling a home, moving your home, but it's through the axis of money that you could inherit, money that could come from a spousal separation agreement, money that could come from a sibling 3 older, 3 younger, under the sky. And this will soothe your finances, as well as things to do with where you live and your home life, changing or shifting for the better, not feeling concerned, anxious, or contracted about long-range money and home. Maybe a stock investment could pay off under the sky. Venus rules speculative investments, gambling, winning money in a lottery. Maybe you could come into that kind of money in the next 3 months as well. The node of fate, finishing up its 18-month run in your 3rd house, is loved up by the sun in your 7th house. The sun here is like harmonious flow between your business partners and love partners, and how you approach audience and marketplace. Jupiter would like to get someone married legally here. That's his job. Formalize something, expand it. But if you were single under this, destined new, there's Aphrodite, romantic love stories can occur. I would suggest maybe with the moon here, from someone in a foreign place who feels like a soulmate, maybe America. There's the asteroid America. And also 3rd house, travel, short distance or long, under the sky, or educational learning settings or social media environments could put single cappies into a new relationship. If you're already in a relationship, then maybe what the call is to move together into a new neighborhood, change your home together into a new city, and expand in that way as well. That's what we got for Capricorns. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. I am one of you. We start off this solstice energy on the 21st, of course, with the sun, as it always does every year, ingressing into our 6th house. I'm going to try to pull us back a day to see if I can get that moon back where she wants to be. Good luck with that, but I'm giving it a shot. There she is. That's better. So the sun on the solstice is in your 6th house. Just ignore this. This is a tough one to manage. A new beginning, a new moon in your employment, your job, your health. The solstice asked you to pay attention to employment, job, and health every year, pets as well. And then there's a waxing crescent energy of a lunation going to an extreme to bring fresh light from the dark moon into your 8th house. So work and chunky money, work and royalty income, work and AdSense, Google money, work and investment monies, dividends and stuff, work and money from an inheritance are intertwined somehow. If you have a debt to pay off, there may be an extreme opportunity to come into some abundance that relieves you of debt. Or you might find yourself pushing at an extreme level to release and let go of one form of financial abundance in order to move towards another one. So if you've been relying on government grants, spousal shared monies, if you've been relying too much like me sometimes on Google AdSense, on YouTube, other money sources want to emerge in the next 3 months. These are an increase in your earnings. The North Node increases how much money you are going to earn and how much money you can save and how much worldly success you can have in your pocketbook and wallet. And that's important because on the ingress, when the sun is here, in your 6th house, it loves up a Jupiter exaltation of the house of employees, of the house of work, in the house of job, in the house of health, in the house of pets, and it flows to the North Node in the house of earnings. I almost could code for you, get an animal and have a better earnings, because the animal is soul medicine, but it can also code as expanding your employment, employee structures, loving what you do, and increasing the way you make money in both investments or residuals, but also maybe in the actual pocketbook, wallet, and earning structures. Venus is baking in, not just this week, Tuesday through Thursday, but archetypally a 3-month run of a sort of inception chart of Venus in the house of committed long-term love, the way you approach your marketplace, clients, and audience. This is very good for selling and persuading others or being liked by the audience. And this is also flowing Venus to a place of contraction. Have you felt squished or contracted or stuck or frustrated in your third house endeavors, communicating, writing, teaching, learning? There's a new lease on life. It's starting to flow. Things are not going to be so difficult in this area of your sky. Venus wants the work of the writing, teaching, learning, marketing, selling to flow to the positivity that she brings in your 7th house. Is especially powerful for any of you who want to write a book and find a publisher. Finally, at last, maybe I'll do something like it. It also loves you up dramatically and wonderfully, I would say. I'm trying to think of the best for us in exalting your career gains. Venus is the earnings goddess, exaltation goddess of the money you make, but you get that money through business partnerships. You get that money through reaching out to an audience or a marketplace in a new and more transformative, persuasive way. And certainly business partnerships for Aquarius can work with Juno here as well. Could this be a new love story? Absolutely. How would it emerge? Well, a soulmate dreamy love could be baking in because you meet somebody in the local neighborhood, in the online world, or through travel. And so single Aquariuses, get ready and get set and let's go. Oh, and I don't know, with Lachesis, like kind of connected to the spinners of fate and loss, could you have an inheritance under the sky? Maybe, just maybe. The extreme moon could indicate some inheritance money coming. Mars in the 4th house may snip away with Lachesis the thread of life between you and an ancestral, family of origin member, someone from your family of origin up your line, bequeathment money. Those sorts of things are possible. Not the most likely, but possible under the sky. Okay. Yeah, I like that. You could come into some money wins as well in the next 3 months. I'm not going to explain all the reasons, but it's there. And lastly, but not leastly, and bestly, but always bestly, we're going to talk about you guys. You are ours, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. We're going to go back a day. I want to capture that moon for you. As the sun will ingress, as it does yearly, trust me, not in Gemini, it ingresses into your 5th house of true love, romantic love, children, creativity, and projects every single solstice, summer solstice. But where the moon falls, in this case, an extreme waxing crescent lunation with the first light in the house of audience and marketplace, business partnerships, and marriage, long-term love. Now, this can bring a new love that wants to commit in a radical, extreme way, but the South Node with this also indicates letting go of an existing love. It could happen. Some of you might be in the next 3 months saying, this is, I want to make an extreme move to bring light to a situation where there's challenges in my long-term existing love commitment relationship place. Or there's an extreme intensity around bringing things into the marketplace that you've been creating as an artist or an active entrepreneur, and you're really extreme energy, especially pushing into the American marketplace with asteroid America here. And you want to love what you're doing. And Jupiter wants to make you prosperous. And the moon and the sun here says, let's focus on destined ways that is possible. The sun trines the North Node of worldly success in your sign, so you can have that worldly success. Focus less on your marriage partner or your people that are demanding your attention. Maybe focus on what you want to grow in your reality for your own sense of destiny and worldly success. Really good for entrepreneurs, really good for arts and creative endeavors. Now, energetically, Venus trines Saturn, where money has felt crunchy, constricted, hard, where you've been fearful or anxious or worried about money, savings, and resources. Venus is smoothing it out from the job house, from the debts house. You can eliminate debt, remove debt, smooth out debt, pay back debt. Debts owed to you come back to you, Pisces. You may also move into new work alignment. And this is great because Venus says we love our work and we're prospering here. And Saturn says we're measured and we're paced and we're stabilizing our income. This can lead to a stable income from a new job, or from a job you already have, or an entrepreneurial thing you're already doing. 3 months of increased stability in your finances probably happening here for all Pisces, sun, moon, and rising over the course of the next 3 months. That's what I got for you. 100 Ways to Sunday. I could say many different things about that chart. This would be a personal reading, but that's not what we're doing. So when I talk about stabilizing money, you should see some of that this week ahead. When I talk about alignment with purpose and destiny, that's the sun, right? Who is your exaltation lord of your earnings, trending the North Node. Find the muse, find the spark of enjoyment, find the creative and entrepreneurial zeitgeist within you. That leads to more prosperity. This is not necessarily the best chart for going to get a classic job, in my humble opinion, because of Jupiter's aversion to the 10th house and the 5th. This is where your own initiative expands your own success. Okay. All right. That's what we've got. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Use code CELEBRATE, all caps. By the end of June, my 40% off sale on every single course I've ever taught. That's a 2-hour course. 90 minutes to 2 hours of replay courses, finding the people in your chart, etc. Check it out in my description box under the video. I'll see you guys soon. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Come join me on Patreon or become a member here on YouTube. Either way, you get different kinds of vibes from me, and information about that is in my description box. See you guys soon and have a wonderful solstice.
Lunatic astrology.